my lovelies. This is Lisa Chu with Chu Got This. Today we are going to be embarking on a journey of pork dumplings. Yes, we are going to be making pan-seared pot stickers. Anyways, this recipe is by far the best recipe I've ever tried to make dumplings, and it's a contributed to a couple of people. Now, in order to have a good pot sticker, you have to have good wrappers. Now, homemade wrappers is the way to go. I mean, you can do the other way and buy the wrappers in the store, but this is easy, and it doesn't take very much ingredients. 2 ingredients actually. This goes to the Dumpling Sisters. They taught me how to make these and also the most efficient way to make the wrappers. Now, the dumpling recipe itself, I'm very proud to say, belongs to my sister Diana. Shout out to Diana Chu because she is the ultimate chef. Now, I have yet to go to a restaurant that has dumplings this good. So, let's get it started. All right, for our ingredients today, we're going to start with our dumpling wrappers, which you'll need about 300 grams of all-purpose flour, which is about 1.5 cups, and 220 milliliters of hot water, which is about 1 cup. And for our filling, you're going to need about 2 pounds of coarsely ground or minced pork. Now, I would go with probably pork shoulder for our dumplings. Half a head of Napa cabbage, finely chopped, 2 tablespoons of minced garlic, 2 tablespoons of finely chopped green onions, 1 tablespoon of minced ginger, 3 tablespoons of Shaoxing wine, 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, 2 tablespoons of sesame oil, 1 tablespoon of sugar, 1 teaspoon of salt, and a 1/4 teaspoon of white pepper. All right, when you start with your ingredients and chopping all of your vegetables and stuff, you're going to start off by chopping and finely chopping your Napa cabbage. Now, you do this because you're going to add about 1.5 teaspoons of salt and mix it into the Napa cabbage that you finely chopped. And you're going to set it aside for about 20 minutes. And what that's going to do is that's going to pull all that moisture out, and you're going to end up squeezing all that out about 1/2 cup of water out after that. And so put that aside, and you're going to use that later. Okay, we are going to start off making our wrappers first. So in that flour mixture, I just kind of put a little pinch of salt to kind of give it a little of savory flavor. You're going to take your 220 milliliters of water, and you're going to pour in using your trusty chopsticks, okay? Mix a little, spin it. There you go. Now, it's gonna be a little on the sticky side, but you're gonna take that kind of mix it until you got a good mix there. I'm gonna pour the rest of that water. There you go. Now, this mixture is gonna be a little bit hot because you put that hot water in there. But make sure and get all of that flour. And you're gonna come up with this looking thing. Once you do, what you're going to do is you're going to flour your hands a bit because it's going to be sticky. Now, this is going to be the messy part, but it's so worth it to have these homemade wrappers. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to take a little bit of that flour and you're going to flour your surface because it's going to be super sticky if you don't, and you're going to use some of that flour for your hands as well. And you're going to take that dough that you just mixed with the water, get all that flour and dough in there. And here comes the fun part. You're going to be kneading. Now, you're going to knead until this is nice and smooth. It's going to take a little while, probably about 8 minutes or so for you to get all that. Make sure you get those hands floured because it does get really sticky there. Now you're going to knead it until it's basically smooth, okay, and put it in a little bundle here. And what you're going to do is you're going to take a knife or a pastry cutter and you're going to cut that in half. And what you're going to do is you're going to shape them into, see, that's an equal half there. You're going to shape them into little bagel forms. So here we go. So you take your ball of dough. You're going to have 2 dough balls. This is basically going to make about 32 dumplings, the skin wrappers. And so what you do is you make it into a little bagel. Get that. Little equal bagel there. Okay, that's one. And then you're going to make the other one into a bagel or a donut or whatever you want to call it. This is the part that I learned from the Dumpling Sisters. This way you're going to have an equal amount of dough for each dumpling. And they're going to be about the same size and everything. And what you're going to do is you're going to take some plastic wrap and you're going to cover those and let it sit for about 20 minutes or so. Okay, while you're waiting on that dough to just kind of sit for about that 20 minutes, you're going to be mixing your meat together. You're going to take your trusty chopsticks because they are not only eating utensil, but you can mix with them, you can pick up things with them like pickles and olives and all that good stuff. Or at least that's what we do in our household. Aha. I minced this meat myself. If you go and get it in the grocery store or at a butcher, you should ask for it to be coarsely ground because it makes for the perfect dumpling filling. Now you're going to take your meat mixture, you're going to mix it with your Napa cabbage. It'll be a little sludgy. Okay. And you're going to put all the rest of the ingredients in there with it. Green onions. 2 tablespoons of minced garlic. Smells so good already. 2 tablespoons of minced ginger. It gives it that little power pack, that punch that it needs. Okay. You're going to mix in your sesame oil. Heavenly, heavenly scent here. Okay. Your soy sauce. And finally your Shaoxing wine. Those are all the wet ingredients. Next, you put in your sugar, salt, and white pepper. All right, let's get to mixing. Normally, you would take your hands and do this, but I'm really not feeling on getting that messy right now. But it gives it all of that kick that it needs. Okay, now that you've waited your 20 minutes and they've set, and you take the plastic off, okay, and you take your 2 bagels, and what you're going to do is you're going to separate so that you have an equal amount of dough. Turn that into a log. And this into a log. It's kind of like when you used to play with Play-Doh and you made these, look Mom, a snake. Ha ha ha. Best stuff ever. Just make sure that it is the same size as your other string of dough. And the same thickness, because that's going to help them become perfect little dumplings. You're saying, why are you making such a big deal out of it? Because you have to remember, equal sizes make equal dumplings. It's all aesthetically beautiful. Okay, now they're all the same size. They're all the same width. And what you're going to do is you're going to take your pastry cutter and you're going to cut it down the middle of that as well. Okay, and you're going to cut that again. And finally, one more round. There you go. 34 or 32 perfectly same shaped dumplings. Now you're going to take those, pull them to the side. I would like to cover them again because you don't want them to dry out. But what you're doing next is you're going to be rolling these wrappers out with your rolling pin. Don't forget, you're going to have to flour that puppy up. Okay, here goes. Here's the tricky part. So you take your dough, you roll it in a ball, okay, and you kind of flatten a little bit, and then you're going to take your rolling pin and just kind of roll out into that circle wrapper. Make sure the middle's kind of like a little bit thicker than the rest of it, but you're still going to be rolling that out. Put some flour on that, buddy. What I like to do is I like to take a baking cookie sheet and cover it with parchment paper, and that way you can put your dumplings aside without them sticking and going crazy while you are making your dumplings. So you have a round dumpling wrapper, okay, and what you're going to do is you're going to take your filling and your trusty chopsticks, and you're going to put about a little dollop of meat in the middle, okay, And then what you're going to do, now there's many ways to wrap a dumpling, but this is the way I do it. So you take the end and you keep on pinching in while holding that down. There you go. And you have your perfect dumpling. Say, Chew, what is going on? You did that so fast. What is happening? Let's try it again. We're going to do 32 of these so we can still definitely show you how to do it. Roll that into that ball. Flatten it out into a pancake basically. And you're going to just take it and roll to the left. Take the end of your wrapper and just roll it into your desired dumpling size. Now I don't want them too big. I don't want the skin too thin. So basically the size of your palm. Okay, my palm's super small, so a little bit bigger than that. Okay. And what you're going to do is you're going to just take just like a little meatball almost. You want just enough to feel the center of it, but not too much that it's going to overstuff that dumpling. Okay, watch. You're going to take it, take the ends, pinch the end, and just kind of bring it your way. See that? You're kind of pulling it in to be that little round dumpling. Okay? There you go, folks. Making of the dumpling. And before you know it, you're going to be a dumpling master. Didn't take that long to do it. See how easy that was? The first time I did this, it was like slapstick dumpling making because I didn't know what I was doing. I was kind of just guessing on what other people were doing to do that. But then I saw the light. I saw a YouTube channel from the Dumpling Sisters, and they showed me how to make a wrapper. But my sister is the real genius here, guys. Her meat filling is just delicious. And I'm just going to make enough here so that we can pan fry some. Okay. And you can get a taste. Pinch. Keep that filling down. You don't want it to leak out. And then you come up with the cutest little dumpling. See that? You're like, wait, Chew, that looks like the kind of stuff you get in the restaurants. Very true, but more delicious. Okay, now that you have made your dumpling, you've made the filling, you've made the wrapper, you've put them together, and you've created your little dumplings, this is how you cook them. So you take whatever oil you need, vegetable oil or canola, and heat your surface. I would say probably medium-high at the highest because you don't want to burn those dumplings. You want them to brown on the bottom. Okay, once it heats up, you're going to take your dumplings and you're going to put them down like in a little U shape. They're shaped like little crescents for a reason. Remember, we're just going to fry them until they're kind of like a brown on the bottom. Okay, when you're frying these, you're going to look to see if they've got like a little brown bottom. Do you see that little brown bottom? So what you're going to do is, once you've noticed that all of them have that brown bottom, what you're going to do is you're going to take about half a cup of water, and you're going to finish cooking these by steaming them. It's going to sizzle, so watch out. It seems weird because you've got grease in there, but that water is going to steam those dumplings, and they are going to be ready once the water has evaporated. Oh my goodness, these are going to be so good. Now there you have it, folks. Pan-fried dumplings from scratch. Okay. We've got them off of the pan and in the dish with a little bit of that chili oil in there. As you can see, the inside nicely done, okay, with that chili oil. Okay, let's try it. Those dumplings with that perfect meat inside, the perfect wrapping, just al dente, that chili oil, homemade, perfection. There you have it, folks. Homemade dumplings, homemade pot stickers with homemade chili oil, by your lonesome, better than any restaurant. I really hope that you get to trying this recipe and that you enjoy it as much as I do. But until then, you got this.